Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So this is my second video and today I want to talk about the Japanese language and I want to give you some tips on how to start learning Japanese when you're an absolute beginner. So I have struggled with the Japanese language for I think 4 to 5 years, maybe more. I started learning it before I even went to college and I never really learned it in an efficient way. And that's because I didn't have a plan and I didn't know where to start and what are the basics of Japanese language that you need to know before you move on to grammar, vocabulary, and kanji and things like that. So you need to have like a good foundation and good basics knowledge before you move on to the other elements of the Japanese language. In 2019, I started focusing on the learning process itself. So why do we learn languages? How do we learn languages? How we remember things? And what are the best things to learn, specifically the Japanese language? And in 1 year, I booked more results than I had in 4 to 5 years. So today I want to share with you my tips and advice that really did work for me and I think are like very essential and important when you start learning the Japanese language. So let's get started. So the first tip that I'm going to give you is to learn the right pronunciation, because if you didn't learn the right pronunciation of the Japanese language, which is very different from the English pronunciation or I don't know, Russian, Dutch, it's like it has some different sounds that we are not used to. If you don't use this, if you don't learn these sounds the right way and at the beginning of your learning, then you're going to pronounce new vocabulary and the readings of a kanji in a wrong way. There are a lot of YouTube videos that you can learn hiragana and katakana with. You just open a YouTube video and start writing this kanji out. But first you focus on the sounds. So for this I will recommend the Japanese podcast 101. I will link it down below in the description. And here you can hear native speakers like use the sound and you can speak out loud with them. And I think they do have a good explanation of hiragana and katakana. My second tip is to learn hiragana and katakana really well, to write them, to read them, recognize them, and use them in your daily Japanese learning before you move on to something else. Then my third tip would be not to use Romaji. The Romaji is also described as the fourth Japanese writing system, but it's not really a Japanese writing system. It's just the Roman letters, like the English letters or other European country letters that you use to write down Japanese words. So when you learn your vocabulary, you would write the sound of this word in your own alphabet. And I think that's not a good way to start out learning a language, because you will probably learn the wrong sound of this word and you won't learn like the actual Japanese. So you won't learn hiragana and katakana and you won't practice it, and it will be easier in the beginning of your learning because you can just use your own alphabet, but then when you move on to a next level of Japanese, it will be like very hard to learn the right reading of a kanji and to pronounce the new vocabulary right and to like advance in your Japanese learning. So I think in the beginning of your Japanese learning, you should learn hiragana and katakana and use Romaji as less as possible. And with that said, moving on to my fourth tip is to pick one textbook that really works for you, because there are a lot of different textbooks and they all cost a lot of money. So I think you should really consider what textbook you want to buy before you buy it, because yeah, if you buy a textbook and you don't really use it, it's not a great way of spending your money. So like I said, I think you should spend your money on a textbook that is promoting to learn hiragana and katakana right away, and then learn you some basic kanji, some basic vocabulary, and some basic grammar points. And I think the best textbook for what I have experienced is Genki books. So Genki uses hiragana and katakana for the most part of the book, and then a little bit at the end of the book they introduce the kanji characters. And so you have all in one. You learn hiragana, katakana, and basic kanji, basic vocabulary, and some grammar. And this book is also great when you're preparing for the JOPT N5 or N4. Yeah, it has a CD. It's kind of a lot of information in this book, and I really did enjoy this book. I bought this book because I needed it for my course Japanese at college, and I didn't use it for a long time after the course, but now I'm picking it up again to revise some basic things. And I think it's a great book to start learning Japanese. Then I would recommend you to have a notebook where you can write things like hiragana, katakana, and vocabulary out, because when you write things out, you learn things better, you remember things better, and you're more used to write the symbols and the characters. And for this, I would recommend you to buy a Japanese notebook. I have this kanji notebook, and you have all kinds of different kanji notebooks, and what it actually means is that you have these big squares. So you have these big squares that you can write the kanji out, or hiragana and katakana. When I bought this book, I already know hiragana, I already knew hiragana, and I used it to learn katakana. So I wrote here katakana, and I wrote the whole like writing system out, and did all of this to learn the katakana, and it really helped me. And when I moved on to learn vocabulary, I wrote all the vocabulary out in hiragana or in katakana. So I also, when I learn vocabulary, I revise every time these two writing systems. So yeah, this is for like the notebooks that I use and the textbook that I use. Another series books is Japanese from Zero, and these books focus mainly on absolute beginners who don't know these writing systems. You do learn a lot of grammar and a lot of vocabulary, but you learn all of this in Romaji. And you learn every time with every chapter a little bit hiragana and then a little bit katakana. And I don't think that's a method that I would recommend, and it isn't a method that I used myself, because I really love the method of learning hiragana and katakana first and then moving on. But yeah, it's a very popular book series, and the thing that I did like about this is that you have a YouTube channel from the author himself, who makes videos along with the book. So you can read the chapter of book 1 and watch the videos about this chapter, wherein he gives you like a lot of explanation and new vocabulary that are not in the book. So sometimes I did watch the videos, and I really enjoyed the videos. And then I decided to buy his other book, which is Kanji from Zero. So it's the same author, the same company, but this book focuses on 240 kanji, and you learn 1500 new kanji words. I do like this book. I'm still using it to prepare for the JOPT and to learn some more kanji. And the great thing about this book is you have also those YouTube videos for Kanji from Zero, where he explains more about the kanji and the words that are used in this book. And it's a textbook and a workbook in one, because you can practice writing the kanjis in the book itself. So yeah, I would recommend this book. I used it and I'm still using it, and I really like it. It's also a very fun way of learning, especially with those videos on YouTube. I will link the YouTube channel from Kanji of Japanese from Zero down below in the description box as well. Yeah, so this is like the main textbooks that I use right now and that I have used as a beginner. So another book that I would recommend you to buy is Oxford Beginner's Japanese Dictionary. It's always good to have a dictionary when you're learning a language, and this dictionary has some basic words that you should know, and of course also about some information about how to use this dictionary, how it's all built, and some grammatical terms. And it's not very hard to read this, and it's written in a fun way, and you learn a lot of different words and numbers and counting. So I will use this book almost every time that I learn Japanese, just to look some words up. Of course, you have a lot of great free dictionaries on the internet, like Jisho. I use Jisho every time, but yeah, this one I did like it. So I would recommend you to have an actually dictionary, like from like paper, at home when you're learning a language. And this is like the basic dictionary. So this is all about the textbooks that I use, and the textbooks that you can use when you're a beginner. Yeah, there are of course a lot of different other textbooks that you can use, but my fifth tip, last advice that I will give you, is to start learning kanji as soon as possible. So after you learned all the hiragana and katakana and some basic vocabulary, you should move on to kanji as soon as possible, because there's a lot of kanji that you need to learn. There is so many different readings, meanings, and words that you can form with kanji. And it will take some time. It's complex, it's difficult, but it will take some time. But it's very fun to learn kanji, because you're not learning like a character with a sound, just like the normal alphabet that we are used to in Europe. But you also learn some history about the kanji. You learn why this kanji have different meanings and things like that. So I found it very interesting to learn kanji, and I'm still learning kanji. And the books, like I said, that I would recommend you as a starter is this Japanese Kanji from Zero series, because it has 240 kanjis. It's not a lot if you think that there are like 2,000 kanjis that you need to learn, but you will learn some radicals and some basic kanji, like the building stones of kanji and the basic kanji itself. And when you know this kanji, it will be a little bit less difficult to move on to more difficult kanjis. So if you enjoyed this video, and if you like to see more videos like this, please like this video and subscribe. And if you have any questions for me, or you want to see a video about something else about Japanese language, please leave a comment down below, and I will link down all the information about the websites and YouTube channels that I had used as a beginner, and some of these books down in the description box below. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Bye!